Hey guys, I'm Chantel and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a July reading wrap-up. Now I haven't done monthly wrap-ups for quite some time, or like the last few months, because I kind of wonder if it's worth it to do a reading vlog and a reading wrap-up. This month I'm going to try doing both, and I'm curious on your thoughts. I kind of like the reading vlog better because by the time the month is over, I kind of like forget about what I've read. So it's just easier to kind of share throughout the week what I'm reading and how it's going. But I know sometimes it's nice just to like have an overall summary, I guess. So that's what we're gonna do today. I read, I think it was like 16 books in July. Whew. Last summer, I think I finished maybe one book or two books or something crazy like that. Having a TBR and booktube to like motivate me has made such a difference. It's not like I'm not doing other things with my life. I am. But I'm getting a lot of reading in and I'm really enjoying it for the most part. Some books, not so much. But anyway, let's just get into what I read in July. The first book I finished was Morality for Beautiful Girls. This is the third book in the #1 Ladies Detective Agency series. In this we follow I think she's Botswanan woman who is a detective, and the series is such a good sprinkling of like African culture plus a little bit of mystery, but they're like African mysteries. I really enjoy the series. I really love Africa. I always wanted to adopt from there and we were able to, and there's so much about this series that I love, and I know it's not for everyone, but this book was just as good as the others I've read, and I hope to continue reading all the books in this series until I finish. I think I was going to share what star rating I officially gave all these books, and then I had it written down. Let's see here. This one I gave a 4-star, so this was a good one. The next book was Unbroken. This one, like I heard all the good things. I thought it would be good, and it was. Like it was really good. I was kind of hesitant because like historical books really aren't my thing, and then historical nonfiction, it's like, oh, I don't know. But it was so well written, so interesting. The pictures in here added so much. I actually listened to it on audio. The audio narrator is really good as well. So we follow a guy's story about, like it says, a World War II story of survival, resilience, and redemption. Like that is 100%. He goes through some crazy things. He gets shipwrecked, he gets captured. I would have died like 50 bajillion times over in this book, and somehow he lived. And then at the end, it's just this awesome redemption story. And yeah, I don't know, like I don't want to like give it all away, but man, this was a powerful story, and there's a reason this one has been spoken so highly of. And normally I'm like leery when a book is hyped, but this one is well worth the hype and I highly recommend it. I gave this one a 4-star as well. Okay, this one was also a 4-star one. This is A Pocket Full of Rye. This is one of Agatha Christie's books. She has quite a few books that are kind of like follow like nursery rhymes. I think because there's Hickory Dickory Death or Hickory Dickory Dock. That one got a name change at some point. There's A Pocket Full of Rye, and I think there was a couple other ones too. And I really like that. This book has me really guessing, just like I'm the worst detective, private investigator, whatever in the world, because I can never figure out who done it. I was like, well, it's like not that person because of this and this and this, and it's got to be like one of these three. And it's always like the person I never thought. Yeah, so this one was really good. I would recommend this. I'd say this is pretty high on like one of my favorites of hers, or there's kind of like, they're just like all up here and then there's like a couple down here. And this is up here, in my opinion. This one we follow I think he's like a lawyer who suddenly dies right at the beginning of the book, and we need to figure out who done it. This one is a poisoning, and I think I shared in my reading vlog, and I shared on Instagram that like I really like stories about poisoning and mysteries that involve poisoning, and I told my husband that, and he was a little worried, but you know, I'm like, I'm not going to poison you. But I love the idea that, you know, he could have been poisoned a couple days ago and now it's just like taking effect, or like it's not so like, oh, they were stabbed so it happened here. But it opens up a little bit more of the unknown, I guess. So I like stories with poisonings. Oh, and then we went into a 2-star book, Force of Nature. so this is book 2 in this. Erin Falk is her detective here. This book started out so well. I was completely gripped. So we follow 5 women who go on a like corporate work retreat where they're like backpacking, roughing it for a couple of days. And so right here, I got to read a little bit of, this is the prologue. So they're talking about the women come back and we were lost, someone was saying. Someone else, we lost her. It was hard to make the distinction. The women were calling, crying, their voices tumbling over one another. Is Alice here? Did she make it? Is she safe? In the chaos, in the night, it was impossible to say which of the 4 had asked after Alice's welfare. Later, when everything got worse, each would insist it had been her. Like, this book just captured me. I was like, who did it? Like, where is Alice? Is she alive? Is she dead? Like, and then at the end, it was like so anticlimactic, is that a word? I don't know. And there was like loose ends that never got tied up. There was like someone that was like really suspicious in the woods watching them that we read about, and then we like never found out what happened about that person, like who that was. Yeah, so like it all fell apart at the end, and this one I thought was really good until then, and so now I'm just like, don't even read it. I give it 2 stars. It was a really good reading experience pretty much until the end, and like there was some swearing in here, which I'm also not a fan of, so like that really, I wouldn't recommend this book, which is unfortunate because it had so much potential. Okay, then I had a few library books. So the first one was Sweep. This is a middle grade story. The tagline or the subtitle is The Story of a Girl and Her Monster. In it, we follow a chimney sweep who gets left by her older companion, was like her fatherly figure. And, oh, I don't even want to like spoil it. But eventually she gets this monster friend. So it's like fantasy, but it's also historical fiction. And I had tears in the end. My family is actually listening to this on audio now because I enjoyed it so much. I'm like, we have to listen to this because you're all going to either like it or I'm going to like force you to like it. So we're currently at the part where I'm like all the tears again. So good. I give this one 5 stars. I really want to find the hard copy of this book. I recently did a book haul where I found all of like Jonathan Auxier's other books other than this one. So hopefully they're just as good. But I have yet to find this book and I need to own this one. Okay, then I went on a like spree of Christian mystery / suspense books that all had like a fairly typical romance. I just asked my librarian the first time I got to go back to the library. I said, because we're not allowed to go to the shelves, so I said, can you pick out 3 different first book in a series Christian mystery suspense books? And these are the 3 she gave me. So the first one was Deadly Proof. Now, I gave this one a 3-star. In some ways, I think it deserves a little bit more than a 3-star. It had a very predictable romance, which maybe it doesn't deserve more than 3-star, but it had so many problems in the romance that I struggle with in Christian fiction. It felt very formulaic as far as the romance went. And the mystery wasn't that great either. Okay, so yeah, it definitely doesn't deserve more than 3 stars. So we follow a lawyer who has this company has a lawsuit out against, or a bunch of people have a lawsuit out against a pharmaceutical company. And the pharmaceutical company is playing dirty and doing threats and all sorts of things. People are dying. But then she gets this like private investigator guy who, you know, is this handsome handsome PI that saves the day and all the things. And yeah, no, it's not really worth the time. I also didn't really like all the legal jargon. I'm not a fan of lawyer stories, I've realized. So I'd skip that one. Another one to skip is, it was called The Lord is My Shepherd. I give this one 2 stars. We follow a church secretary who stumbles across a body one morning, and this rabbi from the synagogue next door hears her scream, and like there's kind of like almost like a love interest between them throughout the book, but he's a rabbi and she's a Protestant of some sort, and there's so much church tension and drama, and like the people that work in the church don't like each other. The pastor and like the drama pastor don't like each other, and like Oh, like the mystery part wasn't bad. It's like an Easter serial killer who starts like reenacting, I guess, Easter week is what he's doing. But all of the other drama and politics, and like it was so cringy. I'm like, why would anyone want to go to church after reading this? Like, it just sounds like everyone's just out to stab each other in the back. And yeah, I wouldn't recommend that one. And then the third one was Oath of Honor. This one also had a very predictable romance that followed the formula. The mystery part was okay. I gave this one 3 stars. I don't know, like if you just want like something light, fairly light and fluffy to read, that works, but I don't know. It just didn't really make me think about things that much. There was very little like faith conversations in there. Yeah, so that one we follow a detective or a police officer whose partner dies right at the beginning, and there's like this mafia element going on, and yeah, I don't know, just like a bunch of disappointing books there in a row. And then I picked up this cute book. I actually got it from the library and then recently bought it. This is Bob. This is a really cute story about a girl that goes to Australia to visit her grandma when she's 5, and then she returns home, and now she's coming back at the age of 10, and she realizes that she left a little green zombie-esque creature in the closet for 5 years. She told him she'd come back and try to help him find his home, and she had forgotten about him while she was gone, I guess. And it's cute and silly and heartwarming all at the same time. And I think, read this back before, but the author wrote a bunch of different lists in here, and I really like this one. It says, here are some of the things I did while I waited Livy's return. So this is Bob, the zombie-like creature. Number 1, counted to 9,087,654,321 6 times. Whew, that was way too hard. 2, built a Lego pirate ship 63 times in the dark. 3, played chess against a Lego pirate monkey and still lost most of the time. 4, tried to do the hokey pokey like Livy had taught me, but there's not much room to turn oneself around in this narrow closet without hitting the walls. 5, cried, but only once. 6, okay, twice, each day, but only for the first year. 7, thought of all the reasons that might explain why Livy didn't come back for me. Yeah, so I want to do this maybe for like a family read aloud with my kids this year, because I really enjoyed this one. It was really sweet, really fast read. There's like some pictures throughout and different things, and I thought this was a really sweet story. Okay, then there was like Reading Rush Week, which I did a full like week-long reading vlog for that. But here are what I read for that. This is The Red Pencil. This is a middle grade free verse novel with a bunch of pictures. We follow a girl who lives in Sudan who ends up having to leave her home because of like pretty much war, you know, all those African countries. And she goes to a refugee camp and she learns to write, and I don't know, just begins to be able to dream, like dreams that she wasn't able to before, because women and girls aren't supposed to be able to read and write. And yeah, this one was fairly well done. I gave it a 4-star. It's a pretty good book, I think. Actually, that's not true. Apparently I gave it a 3.5 star, but on like Goodreads and stuff, I always round up, but yeah. Okay, then probably one of my most disappointing books this month was The Mystery of the Blue Train, because I love Agatha Christie. And this one was just, it was such a letdown. The like actual mystery didn't start until about 100 pages in, which is like a good portion of the book. And I don't know, it just felt like it dragged on and plodded, and it just didn't capture my attention like her other books. This is my least favorite of her books, and it's like all on a level of its own. I feel like all the other ones are kind of like up here, and this is just like sitting down at the bottom here. So yeah, I don't know, I'm not even gonna say more about this one. Then probably one of my biggest surprises this month is the Siren. I took the dust jacket off when I bought this book because I went through a stage where I didn't keep dust jackets, and now as someone that shows videos of books, I kind of regret that decision. Okay, so in this we follow a girl who, she is shipwrecked because a bunch of sirens are singing and the boat goes under and she's about to die. She pleads for her life, and the ocean allows her to choose between dying and becoming a siren for 100 years. So as a siren, she will need to sing when the ocean is hungry, and she decides to become a siren. And it's an interesting story. There is a love story in here. Sirens aren't allowed to speak to people because when someone hears their voice, they just instantly start walking into the ocean to die, to feed the ocean. So this girl is stuck at the age of like 18, 19, 20, or whatever it is for 100 years. And she ends up falling in love with a boy. And it is like the sweetest love story because she can't talk, but he, you know, puts in a lot of effort. And I don't know, I don't feel like this is like the typical YA love story in any way. I really enjoyed this one. And if you like anything mermaid, I don't know if a mermaid and a siren are really the same thing, but like that-esque, I've kind of felt like a fairy tale retelling in many ways because of that. I would recommend this book. I really enjoyed it. I think I gave that one a 4-star. And then another 4-star book was Elizabeth Elliot, A Slow and Certain Light. This one is Thoughts on God's Guidance. So she wrote this one in the 70s. Let's see what year. 73. And this felt just as relevant now as I'm sure it did then. I was like highlighting all the things at the beginning, kind of had like a bit of a dry spell there, and then highlighted and dog-eared all the things at the end. I really admire Elizabeth Elliot and her tenacity and her dependence on God. And yeah, so I want to read all her books, and I thought this one was a solid book. Then I went the poetry direction and read the poetry of Emily Dickinson. I think this had around 200-ish of her 1,700 poems. I highlighted or like tagged a bunch of them that I like. I really like her poetry and would like to read more of it and write poetry like her. Yeah, so if you like poetry, this was a good collection. I got this one from Indigo. This is like their like buy 3 books for $10 or whatever series collection thing. So yeah, this one was a good one. Oh, and then another disappointing read, In the Shadow of Lions. This is a historical fiction / tiny bit of fantasy as well. We follow pretty much Anne Boleyn. And okay, so like Anne Boleyn was a supporter of the Reformation. I looked that up afterwards. So she was, you know, like for the common person reading the Bible and the Bible being in English. So the common person could read it, so it wasn't in Latin, so that only priests could read it. That's great. But this book made Anne out to be this naive, innocent, lovely Christian woman who, you know, was doing the right thing. That's how it felt to me, when really she was like trying to get Henry VIII to divorce Catherine so she could marry him. I mean, like that was just a messed up situation altogether. Plus, it made Henry out to be like this really handsome guy with these like strong legs and all this stuff. And I'm pretty sure, from what I remember, Henry was like overweight. And yeah, I don't know. It just felt like she really twisted history a lot. This had really good potential, but just like fell apart so bad. There was also like at the beginning, so someone in a hospital room is writing out the story of Anne, but there's like this scribe. I don't know if it's like an angel or a demon or like what. That part of the book, which came up multiple times, just like felt so confusing. I gave this one a 2-star, honestly. Yeah, not one I would recommend. Okay, the last book on this list. I finished this book like 2 days before the end of the month. Middlemarch. I was cringing when this one came up on my TBR for the month. And then I was also kind of cringing when it wasn't terrible, so I couldn't DNF it. Ooh, my face got like really white. It's brightening up outside. But who am I kidding? I am really white. Yeah, so really all we do here is follow an entire village of people over the span of like 5 years, and all the gossip and all the politics, and yeah, follow 2 couples who marry each other and then realize they don't even love each other, or like there's secrets and betrayal. And like it wasn't a terrible read. It was not a great read. What did I end up giving this one? I gave it 3 stars. yeah, I would never reread it. I'm going to put it on my shelf to show that I have read it because I need some acknowledgement as far as that goes. I do have another George Eliot. I have her book, The Mill on the Floss, I think, on my TBR cart. I'm not going to pick it up anytime soon, but it's much thinner. So we'll see. Yeah, so those are all the books that I read in July. I would love to hear what you think about the wrap-up format versus vlog format. Should I do both? Should I just do one? I don't know. Yeah, so I would love to hear like one of your favorite books from July, as well as like maybe one that like was a big disappointment or something. Yeah, just any book recommendations you have for me. Like always, let's chat books in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys.